Dominic, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, Terry. And yourself?
I'm good, thanks. Here in sunny Liverpool. You're over in Derry?
In Derry, yes. Been here for it'll be 10 years come the 4th of August.
Oh yeah.
Still got my ticket for the ferry that we took. 10:30, 4th of August 2012.
Yeah.
I was coming from Birkenhead to Belfast.
Oh, right, yeah. How come you moved there? Is there family there, or you just love the place?
No, I love the woman who moved here.
Okay.
So I met my wife in Manchester, and there's that old joke, isn't it? I met my wife in Manchester and said, "What on earth are you doing here?" But no, we met in Manchester, and then she's an Irish woman. She moved back over here. So when the time was right, circumstances aligned, I followed her.
Okay. You're a writer and journalist. Just tell us about your background. You're teaching all over the Northwest, Manchester, Preston.
Well, yeah. I'd hesitate first of all to say I'm a journalist. I think I'd call myself a freelance writer, really. So I do work for newspapers on a freelance basis.
Okay.
But it tends to be writing. Well, I do a lot of restaurant reviews, book reviews, the occasional feature, and similarly for BBC Radio Ulster and BBC Radio Foyle, which is here based in Derry. But no, I was for about 25 years. Yeah, I taught firstly in Bristol. And then I moved up to Manchester and I taught at a school in Stockport, briefly at a school in Preston, and then back to Manchester, where I taught in a pupil referral unit for about 6 years before moving over here.
Well, what is that? A pupils referral unit? Is this for
pupils referral unit? It's a mini school for pupils who, for one reason or another, don't attend, if normal in inverted commas, secondary school. Yeah. So it might be pregnant schoolgirls. It might be school refusers. We had a few children who were awaiting trial. We had children who had stopped attending normal school because of they were caring for their own parents. So there were a variety of reasons that brought the children to us.
How did you connect with doing the journalistic work? On the.
Well,
is it all writing, or are you on camera or on audio? Is it purely writing based?
No, there's some radio. No television as yet. I probably never will be. But yeah, it's mainly writing with some radio, although a fair bit less of the radio since COVID first arrived.
Yeah.
The radio station stopped. It would still have contributors, but it would all be by telephone rather than actually going into the studio and features that I used to do on a regular basis, like the newspaper reviews. They stopped. But no, it was, well, firstly, I'd always wanted to write, but there'd not been time, or I'd not got the right idea, or whatever. There was no opportunity for freelance work. And then when I moved to Derry, I'm my younger brother's carer. So it's rather than looking to find teaching work here in Derry, until we'd familiarized ourselves fully with the place, I had to find something that I could do from home. And as I said, I'd always wanted to write, so it seemed to be a coming together of events and circumstances and opportunities. And Derry is this might apply to all of Northern Ireland, or all of Ireland rather. Derry is a place where it is relatively easy to approach people and ask for help, or rather, it's relatively easy to find people who will help you if you approach them. So that's what I did. Basically, I was any work I do now here in Ireland is down to two people. One is a fine Irish writer called Dave Duggan, whom I hunted down at the Liverpool Irish Festival, I think in 2012 or 2013. He lives in Derry, and but although when I first spoke to him, it was in Liverpool, and I deliberately went to his event, and afterwards I went up and spoke to him, told him my situation, told him that I was looking to do some writing work. I'd already done some work for free for the Derry Journal, so he had an opportunity to have a look at what I'd written. Anyway, he said, well, when you get back to Derry, here's my email address. Give us a shout and I'll see what I can do. And he actually did it. He got back, within a short time of receiving it, and said, right, contact this person. So I contacted that person. I started doing arts reviews, and it just sort of snowballed from there. And Derry was the UK capital of culture at the time.
Yeah.
So there were lots of things going on in the city, which meant there were lots of opportunities. And then the other person that I need to thank is the Pope. Yeah. Because Pope Francis, yes, because I got in touch with the features editor of the Irish News to see if there was any work I could do on a freelance basis. And he wrote back, again, he'd seen the work I'd done for the Journal and said, yeah, there might be something there. But there's no opportunity at the moment, really. So I said, well, that's, I told him, well, I'm about to get married and we're going on honeymoon to Argentina. So I'll get in touch when I get back, and there'll be maybe more time to talk. And as soon as he found out, let's see, I can't remember if it was exactly at that time, but around that time, Pope Francis was made Pope. And of course, he's Argentinian. So that was in the news. So the feature editor said, right, let's have 750 words about your holiday in Argentina. So then you get the foot in the door and you just keep pushing.
That's brilliant. That's a good luck, isn't it? That is. Well, these things are meant to happen, really. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Can I ask you about your mug there, Goodison, Everton supporter? Did you get over often to get to the match?
My brother and I, we'd gone regularly since the sort of mid-70s. Yeah. And albeit I moved away from Liverpool, so he carried on going. I could only get back for a few games. Then when I moved back to Manchester, started going again, and then it was you're a Red Nose, aren't you?
Yeah.
So you might not remember this, might not be etched in your mind. Yeah. But 1994, the end of the 1994 season, we stayed up by the skin of our teeth beating Wimbledon.
I remember. Yeah. Some people say that Wimbledon decided amongst themselves, do we like Everton or do we not like Everton? That's the version you get from the Liverpool supporters, that Wimbledon helped that day. And although being a Red supporter, I support Everton as well. My grandkids are Evertonians. They go to the match. So no bias. But sorry, I interrupted.
No, I was going to say it's easy to like Everton when you're Liverpool, because it's 6 points every season, isn't it? That's nailed on. Yeah. But no, at the Wimbledon game, my friend and I got tickets for it, and at the end of it, we both decided, look, we've got to get season tickets. Yeah. And so we can't be scrabbling around, and so we did. Got brilliant season tickets in the Upper Gladys Street end. Brilliant. With my brother and my friend all sitting next to each other, and we had those until we moved to Derry, and I just wish I'd kept them on. Yeah. I wish I kept them on, because although I used to get over a few times every year to watch a match, and we joined the supporters club over here, through which we can get tickets. But the tickets are never very good. They'd always obstructed views.
Oh, yeah.
But we've also been on the season ticket waiting list now for about 3 years, and no sign of getting another one. We want to make sure that when we move into the new stadium, we've got season tickets, and we know enough. There are enough Everton supporters over here. There are loads actually, that we would be, even if we couldn't get to the game, we could, the season ticket wouldn't go unused.
Yeah.
But I can't watch this now.
Yeah.
I can't watch this. Especially how badly we're doing this season.
Yeah.
I sort of maintain a media silence for 90 minutes or so because if we score, I worry that the opposition will equalise, and if the opposition score, I just worry that they'll score it'll be an avalanche.
Yeah.
Like at Crystal Palace last week. We concede one, and that's it.
Yeah. I know what you mean about the Irish supporters. I've stayed a couple of times in Kerry and Cork. I remember I was in Kinsale once when there was a derby match on Liverpool-Everton. I was having a pint in the bar, and I was sort of cheering Liverpool. And the barman said to me, "Excuse me," he said, "You do yourself a favour. This is an Everton pub. If you walk over the road there, that's a Liverpool pub." Okay, cheers, mate.
Good man. Yeah. Well, there are everyone over here has got a team, it seems, and most of the fans, it's Liverpool or Manchester United.
Oh yeah.
See, there'll be a few Chelsea's and an increasing number of Manchester Cities, the odd Spurs, and then you get really weird ones like Newcastle and Middlesbrough, and it must be just those teams had a little bit of success at a susceptible age for these people. Yeah. So they grabbed onto those.
I can imagine the Kevin Keegan era in Newcastle.
Exactly, and I think Middlesbrough won a couple of throw-ins, didn't they, back in the early 90s? So maybe that'll be it.
But moving on from football, you've written 2 books. Should we talk about those? The first one about the Ireland's beautiful north.
Ireland's beautiful north. Yeah, this actually was the came after the novel, came after Cast Iron Men, but it's just I guess it shows the value of what we were talking about earlier about once a door opens, you just keep pushing at it, and I mean, I don't know if anybody would want my advice, but anyone who might do, any aspiring writers, be nice to everyone you meet, even if they're not.
Comes back.
So yeah, don't burn any bridges. And the other is grab any opportunity. Now, I had interviewed a writer called Nicola Pearce, a writer based in Drogheda, not far outside Dublin, and she'd done a series of novels for children, including one based in Derry called Behind the Walls. She's a wonderful writer, and anyone with young adult children, I would thoroughly recommend getting her work. She's there's a touch of Robert Louis Stevenson about some of her books. Anyway, she'd written this book Behind the Walls and was up in Derry, and I made contact with her and set up a couple of things. One was an interview with her for the radio, and there was also I did a review of the book for the Irish News. Anyway, her publisher is the O'Brien Press based in Dublin. And Nicola and I loosely kept in touch after we'd met, and she happened to be at a party where she met the publisher of the O'Brien Press, the head of the publishing company. He was chatting to her and said to her, "We're planning a book about a guidebook to the north of Ireland. I don't suppose you know anyone who might be able to write it, do you?" And she said, "Oh, actually, there's a fellow called Dominic Kearney up in Derry."
Brilliant.
So that's how that came about. And so Ireland's Beautiful North is it's a mixture of words and pictures, and it's a loose guide to the different counties of Ulster, the 9 counties of Ulster. So it's intended. I suppose the intended market would be tourists, or would be somebody. It's more people who say want a souvenir, or more, or people say who want who've moved away from this part of Ireland and they want a reminder of the place. It doesn't give you, say, belt and braces, or roads to travel, restaurants to go to, hotels or something. It just goes through all the counties, all the 9 counties, picking out 1 or 2 things that might be of interest, writing about them, giving them some sort of description, and then beautiful photographs by a photographer called Karsten Krieger. So it was I think one of the reasons that the company went with me, where O'Brien Press went with me to write the book, apart from my beautiful prose style, of course, was that I am an outsider. So you when you move to a place, you look at the place with different eyes, and there is a heightened curiosity about where you've come to. Whereas I think often with people who if you live in a place, you become so familiar with your habitual things,
take it for granted.
You never look beyond those things. So I'm sure there's lots of people, say, in Liverpool, who've never been to the Tate Gallery or walked around St George's Hall or something.
Do you know what? I was going to say exactly that, what you just said. I worked in a place that was a 5-minute walk from the Walker Art Gallery, and I just started in this place. And at lunchtime, I said, "I'm just going for a walk. I think the art gallery's around the corner. I'll take a walk." And she said, "What art gallery?" "The Walker Art Gallery." "What's that? Where is it?" I thought, you live 5 minutes away from one of the wonders of the world, the collection of beautiful art, and people don't know. They take it for granted.
It's amazing, isn't it? You tend to have less curiosity about the place where you live than about whereas if you went on holiday somewhere, I don't know, if you had a weekend break to Paris, you'd do a bit of research, wouldn't you? And you'd find places to go. I find it here in the same here in Derry. I might mention, say like a certain bookshop to people, and a bookshop that's been here for years, to people who've lived in the place all their lives. Oh, what? No, I've never heard of that. And you have to tell them where it is. And it is strange, but I don't know if it's strange. It's certainly it's a feature you encounter regularly, isn't it?
Can we move on? Can we talk about your novel then, The Cast Iron Men? Brilliant title.
Thank you. Yeah, let's get away from political sensitivities.
It's easier. Less controversial.
Thank you. I wrote this a few years back. It's a novel, a crime novel set in Liverpool in the lead up to Liverpool as capital of culture. So it's the closing weeks of 2007. And I think January the 1st, 2008. It features in there as well, and it's about two reporters on a fictional Liverpool newspaper that is vaguely like the old Daily Post. And they find themselves working together on their mutual stories, and they find that the stories, anyway, read the book.
Okay. I've got this vivid image of the Anthony Gormley's the statues on Crosby. Another place I think it's called. That's what came to mind when I looked at the title. These bronze statues.
Funnily enough, I worked with an agent for about a year. She no longer represents me, but she was very interested in the novel and did try and get a publisher for it. Claire Coombs at the Liverpool.
I know, Liverpool Literary Agency. I know.
Fine woman and a good agency, and she really worked hard for me, but in vain, as it turned out. Now, she suggested 1 or 2 changes to the book, and one of those changes was the title. And I changed the title of the book temporarily to Another Place. Because I wanted it. it seemed to be both Cast Iron Men and Another Place are appropriate titles for a couple of different reasons. But one of the reasons why Another Place was appropriate was that I wanted to look at a different kind of Liverpool, or a Liverpool that was like under the surface. Because at the time, Liverpool was a very shiny, happy city, you know, full of optimism. Very different from the Liverpool that you and I grew up in. And I think the Liverpool that you and I grew up in is the Liverpool that I wanted to look at behind that shiny, happy place. But yeah, Cast Iron Men I reverted to that title. I went back to it. There is a scene on Crosby Beach that I consider quite central to the whole novel, and also it is just it is an epic, mythic sight, isn't it? Those 100 statues at any time of day, any season, and at any point of the tide. You know, these stoic figures either waiting for
different levels.
Oh yeah, and waiting for the water just to go over their heads, or emerging from the water, walking out into, you know, and towards an empty horizon. It just stunning. And I don't know, the first time I ever saw the beach, it had I wouldn't say I knew I had to write about it, but it had a lasting impact on me. And in fact, I had to do a piece for radio over here some years after, talking about a favorite work of art, and that was the artwork I chose, that the Another Place installation. Okay. We've actually got a couple of Gormleys here in Derry.
Is that?
Or one anyway. Yeah, there was one. You say you did the tour of the walls?
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably walked past it. It's a single cast iron figure standing outside the Millennium Forum. Interesting, there was another one on the walls that was looking down over the Bogside and Creggan. But I think it was vandalized the first night it was standing, and I think it had too many echoes of army watchtowers.
Oh yeah.
The local people. So yeah, that was the only reason it was taken down.
Okay.
But yeah, the Another Place, if again anybody who's not been to see it, and it might well be like your colleague who'd never been to the Walker, you know, that there are people in Liverpool who've never got the bus 10 minutes up the road. You know,
it is an inspiring sight to see these things. I think there was talk, I think, just after the Capital Culture Year 2008, for the, I don't know, it was the local council, but for not to sort of pay for them to be removed, which would have been a great shame.
Yeah, well, they were never intended to be permanently in Crosby. I think they were like so many thousands of people who've passed through Liverpool. They were en route to New York, I believe. Oh, okay. But they made such an impact in the city that that was changed, and now they're permanently in at Crosby. But yeah, they were only meant to be there temporarily.
Okay. Oh, I'm glad they stayed.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you got another work in progress? Have you got a follow-up or another new novel? Well, what are you working on?
You know, when I first started writing Cast Iron Men, I had in mind that the two central characters, who are based on real people, very loosely based, in case they're watching, very loosely based on real people that I met in Manchester, who worked for the Evening News there. I had in mind that the book will be the first of a series, and I still think that the characters have very much got legs, if you like, and that the city is ripe for another crime series. But I don't know. I think in all honesty, Terry, I think I might have become a bit disillusioned with I suppose, crime writing. I tell you what first started this thought process. I was just reading an article in the paper a few years back, and it just mentioned how many modern crime novels and dramas, TV dramas and films, in how many of them women are the victims of quite brutal violence. And that maybe this perpetrator or reflected an attitude towards women and perpetuated that attitude. And that made me think again, really. That made me think again about wanting to write another one, because I actually was in the process of writing the second one. Yeah. And when I thought about it, I had a female character was the victim of violence and abuse from male characters within the book. Yeah. And yes, that would reflect a reality. But it just made me think again, about if I wanted to keep sort of, if you like, peddling that same trope. I'm not too sure if that's the right word. Yeah. So I stood back from that, and I had one or two other ideas, and I completed one book called The Sky Road that was I'm very proud of, but has proved completely unpublishable. And I'm currently working on a novel called Old Ground, with a woman as the central character. But it's much more. There's no. It's not a crime novel. It's not a detective story at all. It's nothing investigative. It is I don't know, character study. I never quite know what. I'm always a bit reluctant to, make references to particular genres. I'm not too sure what genre this would fit in. I was talking to Claire Coombs about it, and she's interested enough to want to see the thing when it's finished. But she called it. She said, "Well, from what you're saying about it, it sounds like a normal people for the middle-aged." So yeah, that's that. Yeah, so that's what I'm working on at the moment.
Okay, there's a novelist there, Jack Byrne. I chat to quite regularly. He's represented by Claire.
Yeah, Under the Bridge.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Under the Bridge. Yeah. I enjoyed that. I did enjoy that. I think that's a fascinating era, and there are some really interesting oppositions that set up within Under the Bridge. Yeah. And I especially liked it personally because there was so much set in Garston, which is where my mum was brought up. Although she would, if she were alive today, she would be correcting me, and she said it wasn't Garston, it was Cressington Park.
Okay, past the bridge.
Yeah, it was Garston.
Yeah. Yeah, he got published with Orthodox Press.
Yes.
We give each other writing advice. He gave me a sneak preview of Under the Bridge before it was actually published, and I thought, he's going to get this published. It, quality stood out. Great story.
Yeah, it is good, and yeah, there are characters with and themes that are worth further exploring. Yeah. It's a very interesting one. That idea of identity. Particularly how it applies in a city like Liverpool. That is, I think that I would say it's fair to say, anyway, certainly from my experience, that is, it's more Celtic than Anglo-Saxon, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it is, but I mean it's also got that feature that an awful lot of ports have of through being a port, not fully belonging to the country to which it's attached. Yeah. In the same way that New York, it would regard itself as a place unto itself.
Yeah, multicultural.
You've got that like stew of people. You've got that the transitory nature of so many people's time there. You got the fact that it looks outwards rather than inwards or around itself. Yeah, Glasgow probably has the same spirit. Maybe Dublin, Derry to a certain extent as well. You know, got that same. But it does that. It is Under the Bridge. I think that theme of identity and belonging is something very well worth exploring, and it seems to be very politically and philosophically appropriate now.
On that note, I'm just looking at the time now. Our 30-minute chat has flown by, as it does when we have a good one.
It's been lovely talking to you, Terry. Lovely, sir. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure. No, I really enjoyed your company. Can we keep in touch anyway and maybe have another chat when the next book comes out?
Yeah, that might be a long way away, depending on my daughter. How much my daughter gives me time to write. Normally, as soon as I sit down, I hear a shout of "Daddy." Yeah, and she never wants me when I'm not working.
Get some cooperation going. Get some story ideas from your daughter. Get her to type it out for you. Teach yourself how to type.
You know, she can't properly. She can't write. She can write.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that when she sits at the typewriter, she just hits all the keys. But I think that might make a better book than the one I can come up with.
Oh, brilliant. Oh well, Dominic, as I say, it's been a pleasure chatting with you, and let's keep in touch.
Definitely. Thank you very much for your time, Terry.
Thank you.
Talking to you.
Thank you. Take care now. Cheers.
You too. Bye now. Bye.
Bye now. Bye.